The Home Accent Holiday, which is the Home Depot's store brand, 100 Clear Incandescent Mini Christmas Lights. These are good old school incandescent Christmas lights just like they used to be. These are still under manufacture. I purchased these a couple days ago in November 2025. There's hundreds of them in stock at the store. Some people have been kind of concerned about incandescent Christmas lights starting to disappear. I am seeing less and less of them every year, but I think that these basic ones like this will be around for quite some time to come. They're certainly still around this year. And they're priced pretty reasonably too, at just under $3. There's the item number 1004865344. On the back of the box, it says the total lighted length is 20 feet and 7.5 inches. So the spacing between the bulbs is going to be pretty small. In the old, like Frank's strings from the 90s, for instance, the whole string used to be about 50 feet because you had a lot of space between bulbs. That's a common trend in the last 20 years with all mini lights. The spacing on the bulbs just keeps getting shorter and shorter. This claims you can connect 5 strings together. Historically, it's usually 3. I'm wondering if these are using a higher efficiency bulb. So there's strings of 100 and the strings of 300 of these. The strings of 300 use a lower wattage bulb than these strings of 100, because when you connect the strings of 300 together, you end up with an astronomically higher number of bulbs. And so they use a lower wattage bulb to account for more bulbs. I'm wondering if these are using a similar wattage bulb to what's in the strings of 300 to allow more to be connected together. Now, chances are you can actually connect 7 electrically, maybe 9 if you want to really push it. But they usually rate it, way below the maximum. If one bulb burns out, the others stay lit, which I don't know why these manufacturers are still advertising that, because that's been a standard feature for decades now. It includes four spare bulbs and 2 fuses. Has a limited warranty with an asterisk at the end, so it's probably some kind of worthless thing that's impossible to claim. And according to the specifications, it is a 40.8 watt set. So that means the bulbs are 0.4 watt bulbs, or about half watt bulbs. I think that the strings of 300 are 72 watts. So 72 divided by 300, those are 0.2. So no, I guess it's not using the same bulbs. I've been using these Home Accents Holiday branded lights for quite a few years now, and I've been very happy with them. They've generally been pretty reliable. I've used them inside and out. I don't think I've had a single string fail beyond what was easily repaired. And they're much more economically priced, at least this year, compared to the ones at Lowe's. The ones at Lowe's are considerably more expensive. Let's open these up and take a look here. Here's your spare bulbs. These are not coming with a flasher bulb this year. Only the regular spares. Now, I never used a flasher bulb, so I don't really care, but some people might be disappointed by that. It's a huge manual that says mostly common sense items. These are made in Indonesia this year, which is interesting. I don't see too much stuff made there anymore. I think last year they were made in Cambodia, or perhaps it was maybe the icicles were made in Cambodia. I know one of the ones I bought this year were made in Cambodia. I want to say it was the icicle lights. So here's what they look like out of the box. Pretty decent packaging. These are easy to take apart and they usually don't get tangled. It's just one wire tie. And this wire tie is pretty much the same color as the wires, so this kind of comes in handy to tie up the lead in a tree or something. I'll take a look at the informations here and make sure these were actually made this year. Yep, 4/2025, so they were made in April of this year. So these are definitely still under manufacture. And of course it has to come with this ridiculous huge yellow tag. I always go around and cut these off because it just looks ridiculous. And are these not UL listed this year? They are not. They do not appear to be UL listed this year. That's interesting. I wonder if that was done to cut costs. Yeah, I do not see a UL listing on these things. Well, that's interesting. Yeah, I don't see a UL listing anywhere. That's quite surprising. Alright, so as far as the lead wire goes, which is good and bad. You know, the lead wire is helpful when you're plugging the string in for the first time. Not so helpful when you're in the middle of a tree and you've got all this extra wire to deal with. Not so helpful when you're stringing lights on the house and you've got, you know, a big space in the run because there's all this extra wire you got to tie up. Let's see how long this lead wire is. This lead wire is about a foot long, or 300 mil. And the spacing between the bulbs is not much to speak of here. We'll stretch this out as much as we can. And well, there's an inconsistency. Oh, that's because that's the starter point. It's about 2.5, 65 mil, 2.5 inches approximately. It gets shorter and shorter every year, which is not specific to these. They're all going like that. Let's go ahead and plug these things in here. Another thing I'm noticing is that the wire is a different color than it's been in the past. This wire is a very distinct green color, whereas it used to be, you know, the strings always said green wire, but it was usually like a very, very dark green, almost a black in color. Like here's an older string, for instance, and you can see there's quite a difference in the coloring. These newer lights are a very distinct green, which I kind of think looks better on a tree, but you know, just draping it over like this versus doing a whole tree in it is definitely a different perspective. But that seems to blend in just fine with the tree. It's definitely a very similar color as the tree, so maybe that's an improvement. All right, let's get these things plugged in and see what they look like. All right, as far as the power consumption is concerned, at 119.8 volts, that is 0.32 the amps, 39 the watts, power factor 1 as expected. So if it's 0.32 the amps, and it's a 3 amp fuse, so 3 divided by 0.32 is 9.3. So if you really want to push it, you could probably put 9 together. I wouldn't advise that. Electrically, you're generally allowed to load it to 80%, so 80% of 3 is 2.4, so it would be 2.4 divided by 32 is 7.5. So I would say you could probably put 7 of these together without any trouble. That's what I do, but that's at your own risk. I've connected 7 together many times with no problems. Usually you can go 1 or 2 strings over the rated claim and it's not a problem. So these look just like they're supposed to. These look just like Christmas. They have a beautiful, warm, soft glow. Let me turn the lights off here. No flicker. No weird, eerie, cold colors like you get with the DELs. Just nice, beautiful Christmas lights. Just the way they're supposed to be. Very nice. 100% satisfactory in terms of appearance. And you'll notice, unlike with the DEL strings, these illuminate the area around them very evenly because these bulbs are omnidirectional. They're not directional like the stinking DEL ones are. Alright, so there's definitely aspects of these getting cheaper this year. No UL listing, the spacing is smaller, etc. But they still look great. They still look just like Christmas lights are supposed to.